When it comes to making good, affordable smartphones, there's no denying Motorola is king. Its Moto G line has basically set the standard for wallet-friendly handsets every year since the first one was released back in 2013. It's this legacy Motorola's looking to hold on to with the new G5 and G5 Plus, but that hasn't stopped the company straying pretty far from previous designs. Now in its fifth generation, the Moto G has taken on a more serious look, incorporating metal for the first time. It's a bit of a gimmick in my opinion, because all you're really getting is a thin sheet of metal bonded to the back of an otherwise plastic shell. It might be good for marketing, but I can't help but feel the design is a devolution of sorts. The last few generations of Moto G may have all been plastic, but they were more playful and you could choose your own colour schemes and material textures through Moto Maker. This time around, you only get the choice between a pretty drab silver and grey model and a showy gold number. Another colour Motorola calls Sapphire Blue has started hitting certain markets and looks to be the nicest option from what I've seen online, but it's not widely available yet. The design might be a little boring, but it's not all bad. I like the bold black camera enclosure borrowed from the Moto Z line, for example, and the bigger of the two, the G5 Plus, still only has a 5.2-inch display, meaning both models will sit pretty comfortably in most people's hands. The G5 has a slightly smaller 5-inch display and both smartphones have full HD panels, the best resolution you can reasonably expect from any affordable handset. The LCD displays have nice, rich colours but don't pack enough of a powerful punch to beat back glare on a sunny day. Motorola's never been one to play around with Android a great deal, and on the G5s you're pretty much getting the stock 7.0 Nougat experience. Everything Motorola's tacked on feels like a useful addition too. The minimalist circular clock widget shows a bunch of important information at a glance, and there's a special low power lock screen that lets you check notifications without fully waking the device. Then there are the clever whole phone gestures I found myself using instinctively right off the bat. 2 chops turns on the flashlight for instance, and 2 twists opens the camera app. Keeping customization light means there's nothing to bog down Android performance, and Nougat really flies on the new Moto Gs. The G5 is working with a 1.4 GHz octa-core processor and the G5 Plus a faster 2 GHz octa-core chip. They aren't the bestest processors around, but they both make for a really slick user experience. Not quite as snappy as flagships obviously, but importantly both G5s are incredibly stable. Whether I've been poking around basic apps or playing games, I haven't caught any instances of laggy responsiveness, random crashes and other gremlins of that nature. I wouldn't say either phone needs a drastically faster chip, and the money Motorola saved there gave the company more to invest in cameras. Alright, so maybe not the selfie shooters which are simple 5 megapixel affairs on both devices, but the G5 Plus actually carries the same 12 megapixel primary camera as the Galaxy S7, and that flagship quality really shows. Pictures are well saturated and detailed, and I'm particularly impressed with the camera's dynamic range. It picks up plenty of contrast and texture and holds up well in low light too. The G5's 13 megapixel shooter isn't far behind. It doesn't have quite the same range and falls off quicker in low light, but it's still great considering the phone's low price tag. You'll be able to take a lot of pictures too, since both G5s have decent batteries. You get a good day and a half of regular spotty use before either phone cries out for a wall socket, which is better than I expected given neither battery is on the huge side. For the first time, NFC has made its way to the Moto G line, but it comes with some curious small print. The G5 Plus I have here in the UK includes NFC for Android Pay and other services, but for some strange reason the US version omits this convenient little chip. Even so, you'd be hard pressed to find a better, cheap all-rounder than the G5 Plus, especially one running Android Nougat, which is something you definitely want from a new phone. In the US, you can pick up a Plus with 2 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of storage for $229, or make it around $300 for a version with double the memory. And if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can buy the 2 gig model for just $185 or the 4 gig variant for $230. These are absolute bargains as long as you can live with Amazon's lock screen ads, which you undoubtedly can for that kind of discount. Elsewhere in the world you'll find the regular G5 on sale alongside the G5 Plus, both in a plethora of RAM and storage options. In the UK you can grab a G5 with 2 gigs of RAM for £180, but even if you're watching the pennies, I'd suggest the Amazon exclusive 3 gig model for an extra tenner, which is a small price to pay for the added future proofing. Alternatively, the G5 Plus with 3 gigs of RAM is £250, but you won't be disappointed by either device. That's because Motorola has again struck a nigh perfect balance between user experience and price. There's really nothing on the market right now that offers the same value for money. The design might be a little boring, the inclusion of metal little more than a gimmick, and the omission of NFC in the US G5 Plus a real bummer. But with great cameras, smooth performance and no deal-breaking complaints, Motorola has updated the G line enough to keep its reputation as champion of the affordable smartphone intact for yet another year.